Hey there, everybody, and welcome to Cinema Stubs, where we talk movies, television, and all things pop culture. I'm Joshua Ryan. I'm here with Matt, as always. How's it going, man?
I'm great, Josh. How you doing today?
Doing very good. And we also have a very special guest with us today. We have Lauren. Lauren, could you just tell our listeners who you are, tell them a little bit about yourself, and what makes you so awesome?
Oh man. I am actually a stunt performer. I've worked on shows like The Mandalorian. As you can see, I'm like a huge nerd of Mandalorian.
Awesome.
And I did some fight consultation for Raya and the Dragon and Miss Marvel. I got stunt double for her. It's like people ask you like, what have you worked on? Then when you get asked, you're like, I don't know, I can't remember.
Well, you've worked on a lot because I pulled up your
yeah.
IMDb, and there's just a ton of stuff listed on there. You've been involved in so much one way or another. And, this is a part of FandomWire, which is most of our followers are into Marvel, into Star Wars and things like that. So this is like right up their alley. What different Marvel things have you been a part of?
Well, old school Defenders and
Nice.
Daredevil, Iron Fist. That's all the old school like Netflix stuff. Obviously Miss Marvel recently.
Right.
Man, I'm trying to think what else. It's like I was stuck in that Netflix world for a while with the MCU universe for Daredevil.
Right.
And I got to play like one of the Crane sisters because I knew the producers. So it was really fun to be in that universe. And now I heard Daredevil might come back. So
Oh, I was actually going to ask you that if you had seen the most recent episode of She-Hulk, because he did come back. He was on She-Hulk. Have you seen that?
I haven't seen it, but I knew about it when they were shooting because I had friends that stunt double for Charlie. So
Right.
so I heard that he was there, and I'm gonna have to watch it. I'm a little behind on She-Hulk, but yeah,
It's awesome seeing him back. He's like, the perfect Daredevil. Fans want him back. Everybody was petitioning for him to come back. And it's kind of a unique situation because it's like a soft reboot. Like it's not a continuation of the Netflix stuff, but so I think it might confuse some people, but it's a new iteration where they just keep Charlie Cox around because he was so perfect for the role. Matt, you have anything you want to say?
Yeah, it's just kind of a different iteration of the character. It's a little lighter, little sillier. The first Daredevil was great because it was so much darker than kind of what we were used to on the MCU. And now they're kind of adjusted the character to kind of fit more into that current MCU mold. But I think he was terrific in this aspect of it as well. I hope the show was a little more of a balance, like not fully dark like the original, not fully like She-Hulk is as light as it comes right now for the MCU.
Right.
They can find some sort of middle ground there. I think that'll be perfect for it.
yeah. I wonder if they'll bring any characters from Daredevil, like from the old MCU universe.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people are wondering because we know they brought back Kingpin because he was in Hawkeye.
Yeah,
But yeah,
I
if
feel like
they're
they'll
going to
have to bring him back. I
What's
feel like
that?
I feel like they have to bring him back.
Yeah, but what about like Foggy or
yeah.
the other supporting characters from Netflix? I don't know. Or are they going to bring back Jessica Jones? There's been speculation about that, or Luke Cage. It's all up in the air. I don't know. I would love to get the Punisher brought in because I loved that series, but I just don't know if they can handle making the Punisher light enough to fit in. I don't know.
It might be tough on his own series, but if they can make him maybe a supporting character, you might be able to fit him in a little easier. But yeah, that'd be interesting to see how they would do a full on Punisher. How far you would handle that.
Yeah, for sure. Lauren, so I'm really curious. I'm sure Matt's curious. Everybody's curious. How do you even get into your line of work? How do you get into doing stunts? Like as a kid, were you one of those kids who was like watching martial arts movies and then running around the living room, jump kicking off the couch and all that stuff, like after watching Ninja Turtles? I know I was doing that. Like, where does your passion for this start? And then how does that build into a career?
I've always been like a tomboy my whole life. Like I remember I was riding like some tram ride at like Great America, which is like a theme park in Northern California. And I jumped off the moving tram when it was moving, and I rolled out, and everyone's like, "What, are you crazy?" So I've always had that like fearless aspect of me in my life, and like ever since I was a kid. And then, back then we didn't have social media, so I didn't even know about the stunt world. Like it was,
right.
No one knew about it. So when I moved to LA, I met a bunch of stunt guys at a gymnastic gym, and that's how I kind of got in. I was like, what is this? This is crazy. And it just kind of fit with my lifestyle, like learning, like how to fall and like different skill sets that you have to learn to be a performer. So it kind of happened naturally and smoothly, making up words that don't make sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just how I got in. I got lucky. Nowadays, people know about stunt people because of social media, so people can like train and meet people, and so it's a lot easier nowadays for people to get in the industry.
What was your first project? Do you remember?
Oh my God, it's gonna date me. It was a TV show on Nickelodeon called Ned's Declassified.
Oh, I loved Ned's Declassified.
Yeah. And I did do like tumbling passes down like a hallway for an actress named Lindsay Shaw. Yeah.
That is awesome. What a beginning to a stunt career that goes into all this crazy stuff you've done. It started on Nickelodeon's Ned's Declassified. Matt, have you ever seen that show? Did you watch that show?
I never caught that one. I definitely know of it, but I know the name. That's about as far as my knowledge of that one goes.
Right. So. Yeah, I was a kid watching that, so that's awesome. Okay, we're getting into questions you might not be able to answer. We're looking at your IMDb stuff, all the cool stuff that you've done that we've already seen, but there's also some movies coming up listed. It shows on your IMDb page Avatar 2 and Babylon, and what was the other one, Matt?
The Old Guard 2.
The Old Guard 2. Are these movies that you are currently working on or have worked on?
Yes, I worked on all of those. Okay, I'll go in order. So Avatar 2, I did some developmental stuff, and I was in the mocap studio in Manhattan Beach, but then I got busy with other projects, so I didn't really get to work on the full production. But I did get to work on the stage and see it and everything. And it was pretty like, it's like incredible. And like, you feel like you're in like history in the making when you're there.
Yeah, because this movie, how exciting is it to be a part of this movie, which is going to, I mean, we know the first Avatar was, the top grossing movie of all time. It was like a cultural phenomenon. And it's James Cameron. It's probably going to have the same effect, same success. I mean, what does it feel like being a part of movies like that have such a huge impact?
Well, I wish I was part of it more, but yeah, I mean, I was just there in the beginning. So I was just doing testing and like different stuff that they do a lot of like pre-work, like pre-production work to see if things work. And so I was more in that stage, which was still cool.
Yeah, that's still awesome.
To see how they do it. And you can actually see the animation on like a screen, kind of like what they do for mocap, very similar to that. And then what was the second project that you mentioned?
Okay. So Babylon. Now this is one of Matt and my's top anticipated movies of the year. We're both super excited for this. And we were talking about how it's really cool seeing stunts listed for movies like that, where you don't typically think like stunt work. It's not like The Old Guard 2, which there's going to be a bunch of stunt work in, but like dramatic roles or Ned's Declassified, things that you don't think of stunts, but they still need stunts. So what was your involvement with Babylon?
I probably can't say what.
Okay. All right.
Fair.
That's understandable.
We'll have to watch for it when it comes out.
Yeah.
Is there just anything about your experience or about the movie that you can mention without giving any details or spoilers or anything?
Yeah, we shot actually in LA in like vast fields and like, oh man, like in the mountains kind of. And so it was just really cool to see to be on a Brad Pitt movie is like one thing, because that's just, he's like everyone's favorite like actor, and like you just see the scale of his movies and like how what a movie star he is, and like when you see like all the background that were there and all the stunt people and like it's just really cool to see like everything come together and like the scene that they were developing. It was just vast. That's all I can say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Matt, do you have any questions that Lauren cannot answer about Babylon?
I'd probably have a lot, but I also want to save myself from
Yeah.
potential spoilers. But yeah,
We're-
I'm super excited for that.
We're
Be sure
very
to watch
excited for this movie.
for
Oh,
when
and
it
another thing is I got to see the director work. Is his name Damien? He's the guy that
Damien
did
Chazelle.
La La Land.
Yep.
Yes, exactly.
I think he's a genius, and just to see him working from afar and just seeing his vision, it's just been pretty amazing.
I can imagine that would be awesome.
I mean, yeah, you
Yeah.
mentioned the scale on that, and based on the first couple of trailers, I mean, it's massive in every sense of the word. So whatever stunts, however they play a role in this, I'm sure it's going to be epic in all the best ways. Because Josh and I both love Damien Chazelle. We talked about it before.
Yeah.
So I'm just excited for anything he does at this point. So it's super cool that you were able to be involved to whatever degree unknown
Yeah,
at this point.
He's
in
so
that one.
creative. And then the last film, I actually just got back from Italy, Old Guard 2. That's what I was on. Yeah.
That's awesome. I was going to ask because we were talking. I told Matt before you jumped on that you were coming from filming another movie overseas, and I wasn't sure what it was, and we were speculating it was probably The Old Guard 2. So, is there anything you could tell us about that?
Man, that movie, it was such an adventure. That's all I have to say. Like,
Okay. I can imagine that the action is probably going to be like next level on this movie because I'm sure they're going to up the ante from the first one, which was already, like turned up to 10. So exciting stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I had the amazing opportunity to work with Charlize like one-on-one, and that alone like was probably one of the top things in my like career because she's so cool. Like she's so down to earth.
She seems like she's cool.
She's really cool. Like it's like someone you would know like your whole life. Like she's like super chill, jokes around, like just like one of the boys. She's just a real person, which I appreciate. And yeah, and she's super kind-hearted. And I've never seen an actor work so hard. Like she would come to rehearsal after working all day on set, or she would just train her ass constantly for each fight and like learn the next one. Like her plate was full constantly, but then she could juggle like her personal life too, because she had 2 kids that would come sometimes to rehearsal with us and set. Yeah. I mean, she's a superstar.
Does she do a lot of her own stunts?
Yes. She did like 98% of them.
Oh, wow. Awesome.
Yeah. When she had that stairwell fight scene in Atomic Blonde, that's just one of the coolest fight scenes of any movie in recent years. And what do you appreciate when an actor takes the time to kind of learn, your craft, if you will, and actually puts in the work and can do it effectively? Is that kind of different to work with versus another, specifically trained stunt performer?
I give so much respect for actors that learn the choreo and want to learn it and want to look good. Because I've also been in situations where actors don't want to do anything. We have to teach them moves, but they don't look so strong. So then they make the choreo look totally different than what you originally envisioned it to be like. But yeah, this show, like all the actors were pretty game to do everything. And, they did as much as they could. And then the stunt performer would come in, of course, do like all the hard hits or moves that they may not felt comfortable doing. So it was a good mix and good balance of the two. But yeah, this show, like a lot of the actors were really game to like learning their fight choreo.
Now, I don't want to put you on the spot, but you're talking about how much you loved working with Charlize Theron. Do you have like a favorite celebrity like that you've met, or a favorite, like I worked with this celebrity and it was like my dream type person?
Actually Matt Damon, he was one of the kindest people I've ever met, like super kind. And like, he's also a hard worker and just a real person. And yeah, because sometimes you meet actors and they come off really phony or like too charismatic, and you're like, is that real? But so
what movie was that with Matt Damon?
The Great Wall.
Oh, okay. Very cool. I didn't see The Great Wall. Matt, did you see The Great Wall?
I watched it. I saw it once. Yeah. A couple years ago.
Matt watches like everything. I watch a lot of movies until I talked to Matt, and then I realized I don't watch that many movies because this guy watches everything. But The Great Wall was one I wanted to see. I missed it. So you also do, Lauren, like video game work, which is something that a lot of people don't think of. You see a video game and a lot of people just just picture the graphics designers putting in these characters, doing these things, and you don't think about the fact that they need actual reference and that real people have to do these things a lot of times. So what video games have you been a part of?
The Last of Us 2, Mortal Kombat 11. I'm actually just got home from Seattle working on a video game, and they said I could tell people that I worked on it. So because it was announced, so they said we're working on Wonder Woman.
Oh, nice.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So they said you could say you're involved, but that's it. So I was like, okay, that's it.
Okay. All right. Doing Wonder Woman stuff. So that's cool. So in Mortal Kombat, do they get you to perform the stuff for a specific character, or do you do them for multiple characters, or how does that work?
I've actually done all the female characters.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. So that was really fun because I get really into it.
Right.
And like when I'm doing Jackie, or if I'm doing Devora, especially doing Devora, oh my gosh, because she's like a bug lady.
Oh,
like
yeah.
I really get, I get really into it. My shoulders scrunch, and then I'm like I'm making noises. I'm like breathing like her, and it's just so much fun because I feel like I'm like a kid just in my backyard, pretending to be like something that I'm not. Like it's just how it was.
Do you also have you ever played Mortal Kombat, or do you play Mortal Kombat?
Yeah, as a kid I did.
Who was your go-to character? Did you have one?
Probably Jade.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good choice. Solid choice.
She kind of looks like me, so
right.
like any of the sisters. Yeah.
Nice.
Have you played any of the games for the that you have worked on, to where you get to play and see, oh, that's my move, like I did that, like when you're playing the character and get to think of how you made that move happen? I imagine that would be cool.
I'm like kind of a nerd. Sometimes I watch the cinematic, you know how they break down the whole cinematic, all the chapters into a movie?
Right.
I've done that and watched the whole 3-4 hour thing on YouTube.
Oh,
just to
awesome.
See how it and it's like a movie.
Right.
It's like watching a movie, and then you're like, oh my God, I did that. I remember that.
Speaking of YouTube, I feel like I'm hogging all the mic here. Matt hasn't got to say much, but speaking of YouTube, I've seen you on Corridor Crew doing the stunt women react and breaking down things. That just looks like a blast. I love watching Corridor Crew, and I love those reaction episodes and getting to see you talk about looking at the stunt as it's happening and breaking down how it happens. I think there's just so much more to it than people realize. Have you ever been injured?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I would imagine.
Probably comes with the territory, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
What was
actually I had recently on the old guard, I had the biggest black eye of my life.
Oh no.
And it wasn't even it wasn't even from the actor. We were doing a scene against an actor, and he does you punch, he punches me, but he didn't really punch me. And there is a sharp edge of a furniture, or I don't a platform.
Right.
And it was standing up this way, and I literally hit my eye into the platform. And I had the biggest black eye. It did, of course it didn't show up right away. So when I got hit, I was like, that stung. And then everyone's like, man, are you okay? They don't think it's a big deal. And then hours pass, and it keeps closing and closing.
Oh my gosh.
So I don't know if you could see, but
oh my goodness.
That was the first day. And then I think by the first night it was completely shut down.
Oh my gosh. So how long does that take to heal up?
Oh man, it was 3 weeks.
Whew. So are you able to do stunt work while you're oh my goodness.
I know.
You didn't do stunt work like that, did you? With your eye messed up?
Oh, I did.
Oh gosh.
I continued the day doing the fight like that, but luckily I had a hat on to hide my face. So,
yeah.
Yeah. Because I was actually a stunt performer in that scene. I wasn't doubling. I was fighting one of the actors for that one. So
all right, Matt, why don't you weigh in some here? I feel like I've been hogging the mic.
Oh, you're on the flow, Josh. Going back to what you mentioned when we first jumped on, that you did some work with Raya, that was one of my favorite movies from that year. And I specifically, not just saying this to kind of butter you up, I specifically thought the action in that was some of the coolest I've seen in any animated movie ever. So what was your role more specifically with that movie?
So my friend Maggie McDonald was the stunt coordinator for it, and she hired me and Amy Johnson. I don't know if you guys know Amy Johnson. I work with her a lot, but we helped Maggie choreograph little like vignettes for the animators to have like references and see like to get a sense of the style of like because they wanted Raya to be more like Filipino silat style,
Mhm.
which is like an Indonesian and Filipino martial art. And then they wanted the villainous character, I'm like blanking on her name, to be more like Muay Thai. So we would show the animators like how it would be to work in those types of martial arts and doing like vignettes of fight scenes. And then like, we basically just made up some movement for them to get inspiration, or if they wanted to use some of it they did, some of it they didn't. But I thought the animators did such a good job too, like researching on their own and like creating whatever they did as well. Like it was like a great group effort.
Yeah,
So
that's so cool.
how much martial arts training do you have?
Man, over 10 years, but I trained in multiple martial arts. So I'm not like a master in any of them, but I'm pretty good at a lot of them.
Right. Yeah. Do you have like a favorite style?
I really like Silat and Capoeira. Right now, those are like my two favorites.
Okay. Well, I mean, for the viewers, listeners, not for me, I'm very familiar with all of these. Can you explain those styles? I'm joking. I don't. Can you explain those to me? I'm not.
I was like, wow, he knows. Silat is like an Indonesian martial art. I actually learned from Guru Dan Inosanto, who was Bruce Lee's best friend. He was in
awesome.
Game of Death. He was the guy with the nunchucks.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
The movie, yeah. So that's one of his styles that he teaches. And then I also train in Capoeira under Fit Arts, Alfred Kendrick. So it's more like a Brazilian martial art. And basically it was like a dance that they hid as slaves, but then it was a way for them to train without getting in trouble.
Okay.
Wow.
Do you watch Bob's Burgers? It's a weird transition, but it's related, I promise.
No, I don't.
There was an episode. This is where this is the only way I was familiar with capoeira. But there was an episode where there was an instructor, a capoeira instructor, and he's like rivaling with Bob, and he would dance around Bob and whip him with his ponytail over and over again. So that's how I was familiar with capoeira. So I don't know if it's actually like that, but that's as far as my knowledge goes on it. So let's talk more about The Mandalorian, because you've got your helmet back there, and you've mentioned you're a big Mandalorian fan. Are you coming back for the next season?
I'm not, because I was on Old Guard too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Conflict there. So what was your experience like working with Mandalorian? What did you do exactly?
So season 1, let's go in order.
Yeah.
I did the famous armorer
That
fight
is
at
awesome.
the last episode.
Mhm.
I'm trying to remember who was in. Oh, I doubled Diana Lee Inosanto, who played Morgan.
Okay.
And no, that's season 2. My bad. Season 1, I doubled. It's all melting together because I like.
Yeah, I mean, you do so
I
much.
bet,
I
yeah.
imagine it would start to melt together. I mean, that's okay if you can't remember specifics, but the fighting, the action in The Mandalorian, I mean, that's definitely I think, fan favorite Disney Plus Star Wars show. I think, most people hold that in much higher regard to the others. Have you worked on any of the other Star Wars ones?
No, just Mandalorian.
Okay.
And, oh yeah, I got to double Koska Reeves. That's another big one.
I know you've done, was this for animation or a video game? You did some stuff for Osaka?
Yes, I actually played Ahsoka in
Ahsoka.
Clone Wars. Yeah, the last season. Yeah,
That's awesome.
We got to fight Darth Maul, which was portrayed by Ray Park, and we got to do the motion capture for these characters.
That's so cool. So you do all the fights that's happening in the animation. You guys are actually like acting out and performing. Is that how it works with motion capture?
Well, they never done it for this show ever before. Usually it's just animated, but they wanted to see if they could do mocap for the scene with Darth Maul versus Ahsoka, and just to see if it would work. and lay over our action in our fight scene that we created. Ray and I choreographed it together, and they just wanted to see if it would work, if the technology would work, and it did. And they used our entire fight that we choreographed with Dave Filoni, and yeah, it ended up being like a huge hit.
Do you end up watching your stuff normally? Like, do you watch the projects that you're in?
Slowly but surely I do. Yeah. I mean, I saw that one right away because I wanted to see how it turned out. I try to watch most of my stuff.
Because I know I've heard some different people, maybe not stunt people specifically, but just say like they work on something and then they don't watch their own stuff. You know, they just do the performance and then they don't care about watching it. So I was just curious if, because I feel like if I was in a movie or TV show, I would be watching it all the time. I'd want to go see how it turned out, right?
Sometimes people hate watching themselves. I think that's what it is.
Right.
I'd probably fall into that camp.
Yeah.
You would?
I guarantee it.
Yeah.
That's the only thing keeping me from being a movie star, as I want to watch myself.
Just that?
Yep, just that.
I can be like that too sometimes. Or I'm like, I don't know if I want to see it. Like I get like in my head sometimes. So yeah.
Why don't you just tell us a little bit about the actual world of performing like stunts? What safety measures are there? What all goes into it? Like for a big action scene, how much practice and choreography normally goes into it before you're on camera performing it? I would just like to get a better feel of how that world works behind the camera.
I'd say most shows and TV shows and movies, there's a lot of prep that goes into it, a lot of thought. So we have a fight coordinator usually who thinks of the sequence, and then they teach the performers, and then they re-choreograph it 5 million times to make it perfect.
Right.
And then we teach the actor the bits that they need to learn. And then that's like, rehearse several times to make them feel comfortable. But then, life happens and things happen where you have to speed up the process and it's faster. And like TV shows might work faster than movies, where movies you get more time, but then, it's so like unpredictable. And then there's like, there's like Chinese television shows or like movies. Sometimes they make up the choreo on the spot and you just have to learn it. But I've actually had that happen on American shows where they're like, we need a couple more beats of choreo here. Let's just make up something. So sometimes you have to learn things on the spot.
Right. So
you have to be flexible. And even if you learn something for like a whole month, it could change like on the day if the director didn't like it. Right. So it's just all about being like pliable and like, yeah.
Now, have you ever been, I'm sure you must have been punched. Has anyone ever actually punched you, like missed they're supposed to pull it or go to the side and actually punch you?
Yes.
How often does that happen? And how mad do you get when it happens?
If it's an actor, obviously it sucks getting punched by anyone.
Right. Yeah.
But you always put your like professional face on. You're like, oh, it's okay.
Right.
It's okay. Like you try to make them feel comfortable. And then you try to correct it and teach them how not to punch you in the face.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah. Yeah. And then, stunt performers, sometimes that happens as well. Unfortunately. Yeah. I mean, accidents happen.
Of course.
But yeah. You give more shit to the stunt performer, of course.
Right. Because they're expected to know better and that sort of thing. All right. Is there anything that we've missed that you think we should know about the world of stunts? I'm sure there's so much that I just don't even know what to ask. And you probably can't think of stuff on the spot, but anything that comes to mind? It's
just movie magic sometimes. Like you have people that are, our stunt coordinators are so well versed in this, and they can think of creative ways to shoot things without having to really do them, if that makes sense. Like if someone's jumping out of a helicopter, you're not actually jumping out of a moving helicopter. They can shoot it in pieces where you can do it on a green screen, or, there's ways to do tricks and like keep your actor and your stunt performer safe, and everything's thought out meticulously. So, it's just not something that they think of like randomly on the spot. So it's yeah.
Do you have like a favorite action movie? Not necessarily one that you were in, just one that you're like, this was awesome. The choreography was awesome. Everything about this is great.
Oh man. I mean, it changes all the time. I feel, what?
Matt and I were talking recently. Have you seen The Raid and The Raid 2?
Yes. I mean, those were, To me, those are classics now for like
Yeah.
the fight community. Like those are just movies that we love. Let's see. Man, there's so many good stuff out there.
I mean, the Jackie Chan stuff, obviously. Police
Yeah.
Story.
Police Story is hilarious. Like he's
Yeah.
so
That
creative.
the mall scene in Police Story is just absolutely nuts. Have you ever gotten a chance to do anything ridiculous like that, where he's swinging down the
Yes.
lights?
Yes, I mean I've had different things where I had to fight a guy with like a giant, I don't know, 3-foot dong.
Oh yeah.
And I had a sword and I'm fighting it. And it was for like it was one of those stupid like it was a movie that was like a knockoff of the 40-year-old version, but you know,
Oh,
they
yeah.
make, like spoof movies.
Oh
Right.
yeah, sure.
I doubled Margaret Cho on it and she's freaking hilarious. So we're just swinging our sword against his sword.
That's awesome. I'm gonna
Yeah,
have to
so-
look this movie up.
What was that?
I'm gonna have to look that movie up and see this scene.
Yeah, I think it's called the 41-year-old virgin.
It's one of those ones with the super long title,
Right.
Like, spoofs like 6
A bunch of different
I think.
movies.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just a spin-off of someone else, like 40-year-old virgin, but 41-year-old virgin.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Matt and I were actually just talking about how those spoof movies were so popular in like the 2000s. They were making a ton of those different spoof movies. Okay, so let's see. Do you have a favorite Jackie Chan movie?
Oh, I think Police Story.
Police Story?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Matt, do you have anything here? I know I just had a question that I wanted to ask and I forgot. So Matt,
Yeah,
you go ahead.
Throughout all this, you've got your hands in a lot of different pieces. It's not just doing the doubling or the actual stunts. You're doing choreography, you're making the vignettes like for Raya, you're training the other actors, and you've really got your hands all in it. And one of the things that Josh and I've talked about before is we're loving that former stunt performers or stunt coordinators are getting behind the camera and directing, like Chad Stahelski with John Wick, Sam Hargrave, David Leitch. And the fight scenes in those movies are noticeably better than almost everything else out there. So I guess in 2 parts, how cool is that for you to see other stunt people getting that chance to really show what they can do? And I know you directed that short, This Is the Way. Do you have any dreams or ideas of directing like a feature down the road?
No, I've always thought about maybe like fight coordinating or maybe producing a project because I like doing developing a project. I always thought that would be fun to develop a project and get it to life, whether you're directing
Right.
or not, but just being in the creative process of starting it up. I think that would be just a fun thing to do. Yeah.
Awesome. I do have a question now. So, okay, obviously stunt work would just take a toll on your body, I'm sure. What's the average like career length of a stunt person? Like, because your body is going to get sore or tired, right? At some point. Well, how long do people normally do this?
I think it's case by person. Like I used to think people would stop doing, like women would stop doing stunts by like 40, 43. But now I see women doing stunts longer because they're just, I don't know. I don't know if people are just becoming more resilient, maybe.
Right.
I don't know, but like,
You think that they're taking more safety precautions nowadays that are probably making it a little easier as well?
absolutely. Because
Easier on the
back in
body, I
day,
mean?
yeah, back in the day, people would use phone books to like tie up their arm or their back as a pad. Whereas now
Right.
we have like really good back pads and like elbow pads, knee pads, and like we have a thing called like high dense foam that we could paint to look like the floor, where they didn't do that before. They would
Right.
make us hit the cement or
Yeah.
the concrete and that was it. So yeah, they definitely, and now we have more wire work, which keeps us more safe.
Mhm.
So yeah, the game has changed quite a bit. So we can have longer careers and not to be so sore and
Right.
yeah.
Do you have any more Marvel plans coming up? Do you plan to work in any of these big Marvel projects coming up?
Possibly.
Okay, there's a couple big
Yeah.
ones. I know they got the 2 Avengers movies, coming up. So lots of stunt work in those, I'm sure.
Yeah.
All right, Matt, you have anything, or you want to
Maybe
wrap this
one
up?
last.
Let Lauren.
Yeah.
Okay.
And maybe hopefully you'll have someone off the top of your head, but it's like Tom Cruise. You're thinking of actors who do their stunts, he's like the first, second, third, fourth person that people think of. Is there anyone you've worked with that did their own stunts that would maybe surprise people that you would have never thought they would kind of do on their own?
Oh man. Trying to think. Well, I know I haven't worked on it with him, but oh my God, what's the guy that does, he's older now and he does like all action movies.
Liam Neeson?
Yeah, like I heard he does like, I mean, he can't do a lot, but like he
Right.
still like does some action because you see his face and like
Right.
the fact that he's like, I just give it up to him that he became an action star after like 50, right?
Yeah, that's crazy because he was doing like dramas and stuff before, and then all of a sudden he became an action icon. Yeah, at later in life, I think it was Taken that really did it.
Taken.
Yeah, and I think I think I just give it up to him that he was able to transition at such a later age because it's usually the opposite.
Right.
And I just, me and a bunch of stunt performers were just talking about that the other day, and we just thought it was so amazing that he just did that, and it's kind of like. It's a good like it makes people feel like, hey, you can do anything. It gives hope to people that age is just a number. And I feel like, I mean, he obviously is putting in some work to do some action. Obviously he's not hitting the ground. It's not double is, but like you have to have some amount of skill or training to do some of those movies because you can't hire an actor who's like can't do anything.
Right.
He's still killing it on most of those movies, you know, and I think a lot of it's his voice. That dude has a voice that just was like made for him being like an intimidating, like, I'm going to get you, like, you know, that line when he says, I have a particular set of skills and I'm going to find you and I'm going to kill you. Yeah. I believe that guy. Like, he's going to do it. He's got it.
I mean, he's a good actor.
I have just noticed after, you know, we've been talking here for almost an hour. I've just noticed that this fine art that's hanging on the wall behind you is Lego Star Wars. That's I didn't notice it before.
Oh, nice. I didn't catch that.
That's so cool.
I found it at the LA Art Show, and I was like, I have to have those because I'm a huge fan of the Lego Star Wars series.
Right.
I mean, it's the best. I think that's my favorite action movie. It's all the Lego movies. They are hilarious. And then this is like my armor. Little a fan actually made it for me, and then
that's awesome.
They signed one of the action figures, and then I had someone made me the mallet from.
You have so many cool props right there, yeah.
And then I have like Grogu, and it's signed by all his puppeteers.
Oh, nice. Any stunt work for Grogu? Have you done any stunt work for Grogu?
Yeah, and then I have like Katie Sackhoff, Bo-Katan. I have Ashley Epstein. And she is amazing. Ashley is she does the voiceover for Ahsoka for Clone Wars, and she is one of the nicest human beings. But yeah, then I have the Costa Reeves one, and then I also have the Dave Filoni sent me this poster for Ahsoka.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So I love that you're such a big fan of this stuff too. You're not, that makes it so much cooler that you get to be a part of it, and you're also a fan. Because I've always been a Star Wars fan. I have, a Star Wars tattoo. I remember watching the original trilogy on VHS, like when they released that box set of it and stuff. My friend introduced me to it. He had so many toys. Like, he collected all the Star Wars toys, and that's really where it started, playing like toys as a kid. And then I was like, oh, let's see what these movies are about. Mm-hmm. Have you ever worn the Stormtrooper armor like on camera? That would be so cool. As like a little hidden thing. You ever got to be a Stormtrooper?
No, I'm too short. I think it could be 5'8" or 5'9". That's like the
I didn't realize that they had a prerequisite.
Would have a height requirement.
Because I know Daniel Craig did. He was a stormtrooper in the Star Wars Force Awakens because he was a fan and he wanted to do it. So he was an on-screen stormtrooper.
So they couldn't give you lifts or anything like that, just for one scene?
No, because I was already playing like Bo-Katan or like.
You're playing cooler characters than a stormtrooper.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show, teaching us all about your line of work and all of the awesome stuff that goes into stunt work. Hopefully we could have you back on. Maybe after we watch Babylon, we could have you back on, or
after Old Guard 2, maybe.
Old Guard 2. Yeah, that would be awesome. Now, this won't be part of the episode recording, but I talked to you before about if you were willing to record like a question for us for this game show we're doing.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Do you have, what's a big project that you worked on that you think would make for a good question?
Maybe anything for Ahsoka or
Okay.
Mandalorian.
So now you also being a fan and having, the personal knowledge of having worked on it, is there any tidbit of information or something you think would make a good question? Because a lot of times we have the celebrities of the talent, if they have something that they think would make a good bit of trivia, come up with a question.
Like knowledge that people might know.
Yeah, something that they might know. It could be really hard though, because we have different levels of easy, medium, and hard. So you could give us a hard one, you could give us an easy one, whatever you want, and we'll just put it in the proper location.
Let's see. Okay. Let's see.
I know I kind of put you on the spot here.
Well, I have one, but I don't know if it's like too hard or too personal. Like my question was going to be, who did Dave Filoni base his character of Bo-Katan off of?
I mean, as long as that's something that's been mentioned or would be out in the world,
But I
then
don't know if a lot of people know about it, so maybe kind of unfair.
what's the answer?
His wife.
Oh.
But let's see. Let's think of something else.
I like that as a question.
That's a hard one.
Yeah.
But is it common knowledge that, I don't know. Let's see. Let me see if we Google it, if it actually.
Okay.
If you search Dave Filoni Bo-Katan wife, it says the name Bo-Katan was created by Filoni as a nod to his wife's cat.
Oh, interesting.
But that's from
Cat.
that's
I
from
don't
that
know about. I never heard of that.
Star Wars Wikipedia, so I don't know how reliable it is. That's the first result.
Huh.
All right, let's see here.
Wouldn't that be his cat too then?
That's a good point. Yeah.
Maybe he's not a fan of the cat.
Okay, let's do something else then.
Okay. Are you okay with doing a Mortal Kombat one? Because we don't actually have many video game celebrity questions.
Okay, let's do that.
So let's see. The first Mortal Kombat released in 1992. So what if you just did like an introduction, said that you did I don't know, what would be the wording for you played the characters on Mortal Kombat 11? What if you did the performance? How would you
I
word
did the motion capture.
Okay, so there you go. So you could just introduce yourself. Hi, I'm Lauren. I did the motion capture for Mortal Kombat 11. And what year did the first Mortal Kombat video game release? Just something like that?
Sure.
If you're okay
I
with
hope I
that.
don't mess it up, but yeah.
I mean, it's fine. This part's not going to be part of the show. And then if you mess it up, we'll just do it again.
Okay.
All right, Matt, we're still recording, right?
Yep.
Okay, so just whenever you're ready.
Hey there, my name is Lauren Mary Kim, and I'm one of the motion capture artists for Mortal Kombat 11. Question: what year did Mortal Kombat first get developed? Is it
We'll
developed?
say in what year did the first Mortal Kombat video game release? How about
Release.
that? We'll say release.
Okay. Okay. I already messed that up anyway, so okay.
That's okay.
That's a good practice one. Hey there, my name is Lauren Mary Kim, and I'm one of the motion capture artists for Mortal Kombat 11. Question: what year did Mortal Kombat release?
All right. I think that is good.
But what if they're like, which Mortal Kombat?
Okay, do you want to say the first or the original?
Yeah, maybe the first.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Take 3.
Okay. It might go to 5. We'll see.
That's all right. We got time.
Okay. Hey there, my name is Lauren Mary Kim, and I'm one of the motion capture artists for Mortal Kombat 11. Question: what year did the first Mortal Kombat release?
All right. Very good. I think that's perfect.
Okay.
And I want to apologize, Lauren, if I feel like I wasn't maybe prepared enough, just because this is kind of out of my realm. I feel like I didn't maybe have enough to bring up while speaking to you. If you come back on, I want to be more prepared. I want to be more knowledgeable about your world and make this a more fun discussion for you. So I'm sorry if there were times I felt like I was like stumbling or didn't quite know what to say.
I didn't notice that at all, actually.
Okay. Maybe I'm just getting in my own head right now then.
Sorry, I couldn't remember all the projects I was in. I was like, I don't even know if I worked ever.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't expect you to know all your projects. Like I said, when we pulled up your IMDb, it was massive. You've been in so much. So, but thank you so much for jumping on with us. Sorry about the time mix up. I was telling Matt
that was me, completely me. I'm like, I have no, like, obviously I can't do math. So
right.
Well, you're traveling all around, going from LA to London and back. It's got to be can be a mess at times. I'm sure keeping track of what time zone you're in again.
Yeah, I can't believe I've been back for a week already. But yeah.
So if you're okay with it, after Babylon or the Old Guard 2 would probably be a good one. Like maybe we'll have you back on for another episode, and because what we normally do traditionally on this show is we review a movie, a specific movie or something. We talk about pop culture news, and then every now and then we'll have an interview like this. But if you could come on when we were actually doing an episode on the Old Guard 2, that would probably be perfect. Bless you.
Thank you.
Bless you.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Okay, then that email's the best way to get a hold of you?
Yeah.
Okay, then I'll just be in touch down the road. And again, thank you so much for talking with us. I had fun.
Of course.
Josh, we didn't do the actual sign off yet for the episode.
Okay.
To give a chance for her to pitch, where to follow her, what she's working on in our stuff.
Oh yeah, you were right. Matt is correct. Okay, yeah. So we normally just sign off, and then you could tell people what your Instagram is or where to follow you, that sort of thing. All right, so we'll go from there. All right, and that's going to wrap up this episode. If you want to get a hold of the show, you can email us at cinemastubs@fandomwire.com, or you could tweet us at cinemastubs on Twitter. Matt, where can people get a hold of you?
Yep, Twitter and Instagram at Matt Hambidge, and every Thursday morning, the Talking Llama Survivor podcast as well.
Perfect. And Lauren, where can people follow you? Because I know you have a ton of cool reels and stunt stuff going on your Instagram.
You can follow me as Lauren Mary Kim on TikTok or Instagram, and I also have a YouTube page.
Perfect. And the YouTube page is just your name?
Yeah, just Lauren Mary Kim.
That's easy enough. Yeah. All right. And we will be back next week. See you.
Perfect. Thank you.